With 2 free transfers this week, I plan to make a big move to go from Mohamed Salah to Erling Haaland this week, but with Haaland a possible doubt for the Burnley fixture, that move's currently on hold. In today's team selection video, we're going to cover exactly how I could line up for the game week 6 deadline, my potential transfers, as well as when I'm planning to hit that wildcard button. So, let's get into this. Welcome to today's team selection video. There's a lot to cover and talk about in today's video, especially around one of my proposed free transfers in Erling Haaland, with him possibly being a doubt for the Burnley at home fixture. Now, if you're brand new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. I make FPL content to help you guys at home, and by just clicking that little red button, it helps me out a massive amount. If you do want to consider liking the video as well, the like goal for the video is 10 likes, but we're going to get stuck in with the defenders here. Now, I think across the back line, things are looking okay, but there are a few things to be considering this game week. Firstly, with the Spurs double up against Wolves at home, I feel as though this is a great opportunity for a clean sheet. Wolves haven't looked too great in the Premier League, and I think that could continue as we go into the next few weeks of FPL until Wolves get to their good fixtures, and then maybe we could see a resurgence on their performances. But right now, against these difficult teams, they will struggle, and hopefully Spurs can pull off a clean sheet within this fixture. I think the Spurs boys are going to leave my side within game week 8 when I plan to use my wild card. So hopefully a good send-off for the next 2 weeks from Spurs here. We have Virgil van Dijk as well against Crystal Palace away, and I think always in the Premier League, Crystal Palace is a difficult fixture because they just don't really lose games that much, and it's going to be a really close game. Liverpool quite aren't ticking in that forward line. Palace really resilient actually within the Premier League, and I just feel like this is a really close game. We're going to have to wait and see how it pans out. I think it's going to be a really interesting game to watch, but hopefully at least Virgil van Dijk plays more than 60, gets defensive contributions. That's all I can ask of them this game week, but a clean sheet on top of that would be absolutely amazing. You have Anderson as well in the team this week against Aston Villa away from home. Now, I am a Sunderland fan. I went to the Stadium of Light last Sunday to watch Sunderland versus Villa, and I have to say, Aston Villa look absolutely atrocious. They do not have any threat whatsoever, and if Sunderland had 11 men for that game on Sunday, they would have comfortably beaten Aston Villa, and I think that says something about the state they're in within the Premier League right now. So hopefully Anderson can come away with the clean sheet, defensive contributions, all that good stuff regarding FPL points. But I do think Aston Villa, at some point, they have to click. They have to click. Something has to happen where they start scoring goals. And if that's not the case, maybe something's going to happen with their manager. Are they going to get sacked? Are the personnel within the pitch going to change massively? Could Marlon start every single game week? Could Harvey Elliott and Jadon Sancho become regular starters in that Aston Villa lineup? I do think that's how they should target things, but this week I'm hoping the trend continues and Aston Villa still are terrible in the Premier League. We've got Murillo here as well. Now, the issue is, of course, he had his injury. He didn't play last game week. He hasn't been featured in the the Europa League squad in the midweek fixtures. So there is still kind of speculation on whether he's even going to be available for this Sunderland fixture. Like I mentioned with Anderson, I'm a Sunderland fan, so I know a lot about the team. And I will say this, I think the points we're on right now, we've shown extreme resilience, and in fact, no Premier League team who's been newly promoted with the amount of points we're on now have actually been relegated from the Premier League. So maybe that's some good news for me to come. But overall, Sunderland's goal threat, it isn't that high. It really isn't. And maybe the worry is Ange Postecoglou sets up in a way where we really can exploit it. Sunderland are a team that will sit back and they will hit you on the counter, and it can be quite dangerous. It was especially dangerous within the Championship, and we've shown parts of that within the Premier League. So maybe it's the complete wrong decision to start Murillo this week, but you'll see in the midfielder section who I've benched and the possible reason why I've benched him. But yeah, a very strong benching decision to come from Murillo and one of my midfielders. But that's the current lineup in terms of the defence. The two bench players don't offer too much value this week. In Stev and Dubravka, I don't think I'll be too comfortable playing any of those against Manchester City away from home. But if it does have to be that way, maybe we could, but I think the midfielder could step in and be the sub instead. But we'll move up now to the midfield in my team. A fair bit to cover within this section, especially regarding selling Mohamed Salah this game week and the potential benching of Florian Wirtz in this week as well. Now, at the moment, this is how we're lining up, but of course Salah is planned to be transferred out this week, and I could make a transfer for a few different players in, but currently the one who is first on my list is Iliman Ndiaye of Everton. I think he's low owned. I think he's just about to hit over 10% ownership, but I feel as though he's a really strong option for the next 2 weeks in FPL, and of course that's what matters for me because I'm going to wildcard in game week 8 it seems. But selling Mohamed Salah, it doesn't feel amazing. It never will feel amazing selling Mohamed Salah, but being able to then afford Erling Haaland in my team is really the reason we're doing this. Across the board, though, we'll cover Wirtz next. We've got Kudus against Wolves at home. Again, a really good fixture. I say this every bloody week with Mohamed Kudus. He needs to be scoring goals. He needs to have that threat, that goal threat, to really be an excellent FPL asset. Yes, assists are fantastic, and the 2 assists last game week were more than welcome to get my point total up to 52. But you just need them goals, man. You just need them goals. It helps out with the bonus point system. It helps, of course, by getting more points for your FPL player. I just think he's missing that in this game. If he hits that, he's going to be a really interesting asset in FPL. Burnley at home for Reinders. Reinders is fantastic. Of course, I didn't expect him to do so well against Arsenal. I actually benched him last week. We're not going to obviously make that mistake against Burnley at home. So hopefully he can come away with some really, really strong points this game week. Bruno Fernandes, if I made no transfers, would actually be my captain this week. It's obvious that he's not going to be my captain if I do make the move for Erling Haaland this week. But Brentford away feels like a great fixture for Manchester United. It just depends what Manchester United turn up on the day. In terms of data, Manchester United have actually looked fantastic, and one of the proposed moves I actually could make as well is go from Mohamed Salah to Mbeumo, and then go Mateta up to Haaland. I've already leaked what my proposed moves there, but that would be a really strong move for me because I really like Bryan Mbeumo in FPL at the moment. I think he's so close to getting loads of attack and returns in FPL. His data's showing it. Manchester United are maybe looking a little bit better at times, but the inconsistency in their performances does put me off that move ever so slightly, and it does block a move for Bukayo Saka in game week 7. Now, with Florian Wirtz, we have a bit of a dilemma on our hands because he's plans to stay within the team till next week, and then he plans to move to Bukayo Saka in my particular squad. The issue with this week is, of course, benched against Everton. It didn't feel great because I really thought he could play and do well within that fixture despite having a bad start to the season. I think his Atletico Madrid performance was really great. I don't know. It's really between Murillo and Wirtz this week. Who would I start? And I think the Ekitike red card really helps Florian Wirtz's minutes. So I think the decision is a bit easier to make this week, but still, I've got Murillo currently starting for me this game week, but Florian Wirtz could definitely fit in there. I think when I spoke a little bit about Sunderland's counter-attacking style and how that might really be good against an Ange Postecoglou system, it does make me think, well, should I just play Wirtz this week and just hope that he comes away with something within this fixture? But it is a hard fixture, so yeah, a lot of thinking to do about Florian Wirtz this week and whether to actually play him, but he's a planned transfer out in game week 7 in particular. But across the midfield, things are looking great. Again, Mohamed Salah is planned to leave the squad, and in place of him, Iliman Ndiaye. This is the team with no free transfers, and this is the team with my 2 proposed moves this game week. Salah out, Ndiaye in, Mateta out, Erling Haaland in. I think they're incredibly strong moves, and Night Managers actually suggested these moves for this week's deadline. Of course, if you're not aware of who Night Managers are, they are the best performing FPL algorithm in the game, of course, across the last 2 seasons, with an average rank of 16k in the world. It actually might be 14k. I'll have to correct myself on that, but they help you and give you tailored advice with your FPL team. If you use code FPLMOGS with the link in the description, you're going to get 2 free weeks of their services, and of course 20% off your first build month if you do want to sign up as well. So definitely go check them out and definitely use them 2 free weeks. I really recommend them super highly. But of course, those 2 moves looking at Iliman Ndiaye and Erling Haaland, again, I think are incredibly strong. I want to quickly firstly speak about Victor Gyökeres, my other forward, and then move to Erling Haaland, because there's a lot more to talk about with Erling Haaland. But Victor Gyökeres against Newcastle away this week, it's difficult. It's really hard. I don't think he's going to get much from the game. But if we look past that, the fixtures look incredible, and I think he's definitely a hold in FPL. I covered in yesterday's video a lot of people actually selling him in FPL. It doesn't quite make sense to me. It really doesn't. But yeah, I would definitely hold Victor Gyökeres. The fixture's coming up. He looks fantastic. Let's wait and see how he performs, though. Could be the case that Saka could be the better option here as a differential. We'll speak about that a bit more after Haaland here. And Erling Haaland with the potential back injury, it does throw a spanner into the works for a lot of FPL managers, because the main reason people are on a wildcard 6 is to get Erling Haaland. And of course, it's going to be a real shock if he doesn't feature this weekend, because I really do think he will play, and that's why these are my 2 potential moves I can make ahead of the deadline. But I think to be a good FPL manager, we need to really consider the likelihood and potential that he is out this weekend and have a planned move in place if he is out. Like, what will we actually do with our teams? Because with all that money, surely you would go ahead and fill the midfield with premiums, but some of the premiums are just coming back from injury or are injured. For example, Cole Palmer, he looks to be missing the next few weeks. Bukayo Saka's only just came back to the Arsenal squad, so it's going to be a really interesting situation if Erling Haaland is out. But again, I do think he will start this weekend, and I think he's an incredibly strong asset in FPL and potentially my captain. Well, potentially, definitely my captain for game week 6. In terms of my next few weeks as well, of course I mentioned with Florian Wirtz on the bench there, for next game week I plan to do the move from Florian Wirtz to Bukayo Saka. That would be my proposed transfer for game week 7, and then past that I would go on to a wildcard 8 strategy, and I'll of course cover that in much more detail when we get closer to game week 8 in particular. But that is how the team is looking. Let me know in the comments what you think of the squad, my proposed transfers, and of course if you have any FPL questions, drop them in the comments as well. Tomorrow I plan to do a Q&A live stream the day before the deadline on Friday evening, so make sure you're looking out for that. But of course, I always like to outro my videos with a massive thank you for your support on today's video and the channel. If you aren't yet subscribed to the FPL Mugs YouTube channel, go ahead and do so for future FPL content and deadline streams. But that is everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.